Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get started with the agenda for the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency. Regent Clare and Councilman Emery, and my name is Chris Beitler. We're here today as the commission of the agency. Notice of public meetings is posted in the back of the room, and this meeting will be conducted in accordance with the open meetings law. Public comment is always welcome. We do have certain rules with regard to the presentation of public testimony, but we do welcome public testimony for a total of 5 minutes on each individual item. And we ask those who testify to identify themselves for the official record. With that, unless you gentlemen have opening comments of some sort, we'll proceed to the next item. Are you good to go?
Good.
Okay. Agenda item number 3 is approval of the minutes for the JPA meeting held June 18th, 2014. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there further comment? Call the roll.
Clare?
Yes.
Beitler?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Agenda item number 4, approval of the June, July, and August 2014 payment registers. And Steve Hupka is here to present those.
Yes, we do have a little bit of a backlog in approval of the payment registers, so we're presenting 3 months. As noted the last time we met and approved payment registers, the reports are now sorted with the operating budget expenditures first. Phase 1 project budget numbers are the second section of the report, and the third section are the Phase 2 numbers. And for the month of June, I think the couple of things to note is we had our principal, or actually our interest payments for the debt service, which looks like they're about $7 million roughly. We also made payments to UNL for loge box revenues. That was when we settled up the rent and revenues due to UNL. And then we also made a payment to settle the sales tax issued with the Department of Revenue. So that was $8,579,000. Phase 2 is where we're seeing, Phase 1 is next. We're seeing minimal payments out of the Phase 1 budget now. But Phase 2 is a little more substantial with payments yet for the parking garages, which was $2,847,000 for total for all three of $11.7 million. And for the July payment register, we had the transfer of money for the operating part of the sponsorships going to the arena. $465,000 was a significant portion of the operating budget for that particular month. Again, we had lesser expenditures for the Phase 1 budget and more substantial payments for Phase 2 budget, and that was again for the parking garage construction. And for the August payment register, once again, we didn't have anything too out of the ordinary when it comes to the operating budget. But, and again, Phase 1 was $300 and some thousand. Those were running pretty consistently from month to month. And then once again, the Phase 2 budget, we had payments for the construction of the parking garages. So those are that's a brief summary of the 3 months payment registers. And we did get our signatures, and we are on budget.
Questions of Steve?
You took my questions.
Sorry.
Are there any requests for payments that were particularly unusual or legally dubious, or involved any questions of interpretation, or
No,
was it all pretty straightforward in your opinion?
We were getting invoices from CSL Legends during this time period, but that was an agreed upon
Okay, we'll talk about that.
situation. Yeah.
All right, if there are no further questions, thank you, Steve. Is there public comment on agenda item number 4? If not, is there a motion to approve the payment registers for June, July, and August of 2014?
So moved.
So moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? If not, call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes. The registers are approved. Agenda item number 5 is the review of the expenditure reports for those same months, again, by Steve Hupka.
Yes, these reflect the activity that you saw in the payment registers. We are, later today, putting in front of you a project budget amendment for both Phase 1 and Phase 2. So some of the budgeted line items on here will change slightly after that is taken up and hopefully approved. The one thing I would make mention of, one of these months on the operating budget, we had to pay UNL for another season of tickets for the premium seating arrangements. So we actually paid UNL twice during this fiscal year for the tickets for the suites and the loge boxes. And after this point in time, it'll be one payment per year for that particular purpose. So that kind of distorted that a little bit from what we originally budgeted, which was 1 year's payment.
And that was just a timing thing, Steve?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So we actually went a year without paying them at all?
Well, no, I don't think we went a year. I think we,
From the
first
start
and
to-
second year
correct.
got put in the
Gotcha.
first year.
I got you.
Okay. No further questions? Thank you. Is there public comment on this agenda item? If not, no motion is required, and we'll move to agenda item number 6, WH 1424, a resolution to approve an easement to Lincoln Electric System. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing good. Good afternoon, gentlemen. 14-24 is for an underground or a slight addition to 2 easements LES has south of N Street on the South Altar property. LES has some interest in installing a loop to their power grid within the next 6 to 8 months so that they can be ready for any future loads that the West Haymarket needs or the general area needs. Part of that is to do that, they have to run some conduit, and we've had some talks with them, and they're willing to do a bore so that they can stay well below where we need to do some environmental remediation on the soil next year. And in order to do that, they need to have the bore come back up to meet their other lines, and the best route includes this little sliver of the easement here. So that's kind of the long and short of the need for it. It is an area that isn't so close to the railroad tracks, it's not really buildable for buildings or anything like that. So,
Adam, I may have missed it, but did you identify yourself so that?
oh, sorry, Adam Holbein-Heinrich, PC Sports.
Thank you.
Okay, questions of Adam?
The remediation thing, that's something that we know is coming, and we've known it was coming in.
Yes, that's Frankie Larrick and the team have been working on that for a while, assessing it, and we're confident that their bore will be well below those levels. So
Perfect.
All right, thank you, Adam. Is there public comment on this particular item? If not, is there a motion to approve the resolution 1424 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
1424 is approved. Agenda item number 7 is resolution WH 1425 to approve a letter agreement relating to the replacement of broken glass units in Pinnacle Bank Arena. Okay, Adam?
the agreement is between Guardian Industries, and we're the glass manufacturer for all the arena glass. part of the deal was there was about 4 to 6 glass panes that broke on the arena, and it was found that there was inclusions in the glass, which is normal during the glass process. But
What do you call it?
inclusions, so specks of dust and things like that that make their way into the glass during the glass process. Because there was a few of them, and Guardian wants to maintain the relationship with both the city, the JPA, and Mortensen and PC Sports and all that, they felt the need to extend their warranty for the glass. It will now go from September of 2020 or 2012 when it was originally manufactured until 2018 now. So if there's any future glass breakage because of inclusions, they will be replaced at no charge to the JPA. And part of the JPA side of this deal is that the 4 to 6 broken panes, I think it was 6 now, that happened, Guardian will pay to replace those, but as part of this, the JPA will waive any claims associated with those pieces of glass going forward. It's a pretty normal part of the construction or the glass industry, and they're kind of stepping above and beyond to keep everybody happy.
Were these some of the panes when it first opened that were broken?
Yes, yes.
So it
Them were
wasn't a
that.
vandalism thing that we initially thought then?
Correct.
Good.
There's also, hopefully, any of those inclusions that would cause issues should show themselves by 2018, so that should be a long-term issue by any means.
And other than the replacement of the glass, we wouldn't have a claim anyway, would we?
Sorry.
Other than the replacement of the glass, we wouldn't have a claim anyway. So, I mean, basically what they're saying is we'll replace the glass for free.
Yeah, it would
And
be,
the rest of it is kind of quid pro quo. And they're saying you won't file a claim against us, but we don't really have a claim other than replacing the glass, do we?
Yeah, it's pretty standard. It's a pretty good deal actually for the JPA. Just kind of to have that in their back pocket going forward for the next few years.
Further questions of Adam?
Just recommend
Is
approval.
there public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 1425 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
1425 is approved. Agenda item number 8 is Resolution 1426, a right-of-way entry agreement with Argent, Inc. relating to access to certain property. TMC?
Good afternoon, Tim C. from the City Law Department. This, what you have before you in 1426, is a right of entry agreement that would allow Argent and its contractors to go on Lot 1 of Block 8, which is the site of the Lumberworks parking garage. The city has approved Argent as the developer for that site, and they need to go on the site and do some soil testing and some surveying. So this is just to allow them to go on the site to do that testing and the surveying in order to finalize their plans for the project.
Questions of Tim? Is there public comment on this particular item? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve WH 1426 as presented?
So
Second.
Moved, seconded. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Claire,
yes.
Beitler,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Resolution's approved. Moving on to agenda item number 9, WH 1427, resolution approving the adoption of the 2014-15 JPA operating budget to be presented to us by Steve Hubka.
Yes, this is the operating budget for the year that began September 1st and goes through August 31st of 2015. There were some changes in the budget in the overall amount. It went up from, let me get the right page here, went up from 21.7 million to 25.6 million, and I'll point out some of the larger increases that took place. We had $1,521,329 of additional commissions to budget for. And that is partially funded by a reappropriation of amounts that were in the 13-14 budget. $919,000 was still available that we budgeted, and again, that comes up in one of your later agenda items with the settlement. We had $880,000 of additional parking garage management expenses due to the fact we have the 2 new garages on board. And we have $1,096,000 of additional debt service, primarily because we're starting to pay principal on the Phase 2 bonds that were issued. And we also had another $600,000 budgeted for the District Energy Corp payments, and that's based on the fact that we have more development going on down there now and more buildings to serve, and also years of experience with what the costs are. So those are the major items that, biggest items that changed. There's obviously a lot of little things that took place, and I would point out in the resolution we're reappropriating $35,000 that was budgeted in 13-14 for the cleanup of the JPA property by the city mission that just recently took place. Are there any questions regarding the operating budget?
Do you see any surprises in here, anything that catches you off guard from where we initially started several years ago?
Well, I think there's things that have come up, just like, and we budget miscellaneous contractual for things like this cleanup that take place, but obviously the debt service is the lion's share of the operating budget, and we've got that scheduled out now for the next 30-plus years, so that big, huge portion of that budget is not going to change very much from what we know right now. Obviously the principal we begin paying that on the $300 million of bonds in 2021. So come down the road, that'll be a huge increase when that takes place. But no, nothing out of the ordinary.
Where are we at, again, just for the record, where are we in terms of occupation tax, where we budgeted to be, and where, and do you see things going the same direction, same trajectory in the future?
At this point, we've only got 2 or 3 years worth of history, but in the most recent year end, which ended August 31st, we took in $14,361,000 of occupation tax. That is up about $1.1 million over the prior year. And in looking at what we projected when we applied for the turnback tax, it would have taken us till the year 2020 to start taking in that amount of money. So that's going exceptionally well. In calendar year to date, our collections are over 8% up over the prior year. So as we do future projections, our base that we project growth on is growing rapidly, and that's nothing but good news.
Do you have that coming primarily from the 2%, or do you have that coming from the 4% from the hotels, or where's the breakdown on that?
Well, I don't have the exact breakdown, but by far and away the bulk of the dollars comes from the restaurant and bar taxes. And we have about 600 taxpayers that pay that.
And we finished 13-14 on budget or under budget that we had set. Is that what you're?
We're under budget. The reason we're under budget is because we are having these commissions that we're moving into this upcoming fiscal year that we didn't pay. The one little surprise we had, I already mentioned, was we paid 2 years of ticket revenue to UNL, and that's just a timing thing. And once we get our process on the same fiscal years, we'll be 1 year payment every year from now on.
Steve, you also, as part of your job, kind of keep track of non-payment of occupation taxes, do you not?
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
And let me just ask you how you would characterize differences, if any, that you may have observed before and after the event of the arena and the addition of so many restaurants in town generally?
Well, I think as far as,
Is the non-payment rate going up any, or is it constant, or?
I think it's improved and it's kind of leveled off. Every month I sign assessment letters, and it's usually between 10 and 15 businesses that we assess. And the letters seem to get them caught up for a while, and then we see a lot of the same businesses get behind again. So I see familiar names almost every month when I sign those letters. But we don't let them get more than about a month behind before they get one of those letters. So I think we've tightened up the rapidity with which we get notices out to them quite a bit from a couple years ago. We've got a few on payment plans, but I think that's only 8 or 10, so that's not too bad.
Is that much different than what it was 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, it's much better. Fewer on coming in for payment plans. I think the compliance has gotten a lot better. I think some of these repeat offenders know that if they don't pay, that they're going to be hearing from us within a month or so. So I think it's gotten better, and we've got a better tracking system in finance to keep right on top of things.
All right, other questions of Steve? Is there public comment on agenda item number 9? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve WH 1427, the JPA 1415 operating budget?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve as presented. Further comment? Call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
The budget, operating budget stands approved. Agenda item number 10 is WH 1428, resolution approving the program budget, Phase 1 and Phase 2 for this upcoming year. Steve?
Yes, unlike the operating budget, the program budget is an ongoing budget that I think we've amended every probably 8 or 10 months over the course of the project. And as we're getting to the very end of the capital part of the project, I think the frequency with which we do this will probably come to a halt in the very near future. But I'd like to just characterize a few of the things that you see in the proposed changes column here. We're moving into other costs, which include the Breslow Ice Center, $1,927,000, which includes the $2 million that had been shown as down in other funding sources, or in contingency, I should say. Moving that up into the specifically budgeted line items. And it's not $2 million or greater because there's some offsetting savings in that line item. We're also moving some items for parking and roads. As those are finished up, those are getting moved down into contingency now because we don't need them in those particular line items. Same way with the site purchase and bond related costs. So we're actually increasing the contingency budget by $1,308,126. And that leaves us in what's identified as contingency, $10,348,000. But there's also $2.2 million of contingency in the arena/garage construction line item up above there. So overall, we have about $12.5 million of contingency left. And obviously, the places where that contingency would need to be spent are rapidly diminishing as the project closes. So that's really great news, I believe. And on Phase 2, which was done for the garages 2 and 3, we're just moving some money up from contingency up into parking. And my notes indicate that that was for streetscape that was done. So there again, there's $421,984 left in contingency for the parking garages, and I believe they're now open. So once again, the possible uses for contingency are being reduced dramatically.
Questions for Steve? Thank you, Steve. Is there public comment on agenda item number 10? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve as presented, WH 1428?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
WH 1428 is approved. Agenda item number 11, WH 1429, a report and authorization relating to proposed settlement agreement with Legends Sales and Marketing LLC. From our legal office, Jocelyn Golden.
Jocelyn Golden from the City Law Department. I'm here requesting that the JPA approve a settlement with Legends Sales and Marketing LLC for a lawsuit that they filed against the JPA at the end of 2013. This lawsuit relates to a dispute over commissions that were due to them because of a prepayment by Pinnacle Bank for the naming rights of the arena. Legends alleged that the JPA owed them an additional $596,051 in commissions due to that naming rights contract. We conducted discovery in the lawsuit, and then we engaged in settlement negotiations, and we reached a settlement and whereby the JPA is being asked to pay an additional $469,052 in commissions to Legends under this settlement agreement. This settlement agreement will also confirm or ratify a commission reduction of $100,000 that we had negotiated with Legends during their contract with JPA prior to its expiration. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
So the whole issue on this lawsuit is that Pinnacle found it was more advantageous for them from a timing standpoint, rather than to pay their naming rights over time. They decided to present value that and pay it currently, which then was a great deal for us, but then it impacted the commissions that we're due and owing, and that's what this was about.
That's exactly right. They elected to do prepayment about a year or so into their contract with the JPA. There was a 4% reduction that they received because of that prepayment. The dispute arose out of just simple interpretation of contract language as to whether or not Legends was due commissions based on the total amount that was originally negotiated or that prepayment amount. We conducted discovery. Really, there was just nothing that we discovered throughout that discovery. It was just a simple dispute over contract language.
So if we approve this, the money comes from Steve?
It will come from the just approved operating budget.
It's already in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well.
No further questions of Jocelyn? Is there public comment on this particular item? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve WH 1429
So moved.
as presented? Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes?
Emery,
Yes.
It has been approved. Agenda item number 12 is setting the next meeting date, which will be, without objection, Thursday, October 9th at 3 p.m. in this building, in this room.
I have a general comment that wasn't under any of the agenda items.
Please come forward.
We'll wait and talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Mike Miller, I'm doing a follow-up visit after my 2 meetings ago. You asked me to make an appointment with Tom Lorenz and seek space in the arena for breastfeeding and lactation pumping. And we did that. I took one of the managers from Bryan LGH, who's also a member of the Lancaster County Breastfeeding Coalition. We found that space. I think we're at the point now where ultimately there needs to be a budget and authority. I've sent a couple of emails. I haven't heard back from Tom yet if they've made any progress, but I believe we're waiting for a decision from the board. And so I'm back here asking if you want me to do anything else, if you want me to specifically provide a presentation on the alternatives. There are a number of opportunities and places within the arena, but I just need to know what you'd like to do next.
Okay. Thank you for reminding us about it. Unless I'm forgetting something, and I'd ask staff to remind me, but I'm not sure that we've had a final meeting on that and resolved that. So I think we're going to need a little more time. Is that, you're shaking your head yes, Tom, is that accurate?
Yeah, there's some more discussion that needs to happen with us and the city.
Okay. It's not lost, we just haven't got to it yet. I'm sorry, we're a little slow.
Okay. And so do you have any idea who I can follow up with your staff then at the?
Probably John Carlson and our staff you can follow up with.
John Carlson.
But give us a little time.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I came to the city council initially just trying to seek an answer. I don't think the Pinnacle Bank Arena, the way it was constructed, was mother and baby friendly. And I was looking for people to say yes or no. And instead, I got invited to come here. And then I got invited to go forward. And I'm just going like, do you agree with me this is something that should be corrected and improved in the arena?
Well, if
I think it's something we need, I think we need
respond, you
to
can.
look into it, and before we can make an answer, yes or no, I don't know if Tom's telling us that there's things that need to be further discussed, then we probably need to flush those things out first, and then we can come back and answer the question. I don't know off the top of my head whether there is or there isn't.
That's the answer ultimately I'm looking for as we go forward, so.
Yeah, I think we want to hear everybody's opinion and input first, and that's what's happening, albeit not quite quickly enough.
Okay,
Sorry about
thank you very
that.
much.
Yeah.
Back to the meeting date. Might we consider the following week, since that's only, 14 days away? October the 9th, or 16 days away? We won't get much accomplished in 16 days, I don't think.
So you want to make it
The following week, the 16th or whatever
16th.
that is. I'm only asking because, again, we're going to meet in a meeting. This one was later than it just seems to me that we won't have much action in the next 16 days. It would be worth meeting and discussing. Or it is possible that you want to get back on the earlier in the month date, to just skip that and go right directly to November. And then you'd be on the earlier timeframes. That would probably be a 6 weeks issue. I don't care either way.
I'd like to hear from staff if there are any considerations we should make in terms of, we should include
Chris
in
Connolly,
terms
City
of
Law
the setting
Department.
of the date.
There's a couple of items that may come up, and it doesn't matter whether it's October 9th or slightly later in October. I'm not sure we want to wait until November to bring them up.
I only said that because if you go to the 16th and we're all of a sudden we're right back in the same situation, it's
And I
20
understand
days
that.
until the next one. It's up to you guys. I'm okay with it, but I don't think there's reason for us to meet again in 16 days. I don't think we got much accomplished.
I'm okay from what I know of that we have might be coming up. I'm okay with waiting until the 16th. I mean, that's not a problem for
16th works for me.
Okay.
3 o'clock?
Yeah, I don't know if the 15th works for
16th.
me, or the 16th. Let me.
If not, we can change it again, but
If
it
it's
just
all right
doesn't,
with you,
I
gentlemen,
mean, just doesn't
Can we
seem,
just have staff get in touch with
Sure.
you and check out?
It just doesn't seem
the 16th,
logical, though,
assuming
to
it'll
go.
probably be the 16th.
And I appreciate your cooperation and moving
Yeah.
to the state. It
no problem.
made some things go a little easier.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
But you see, you see my point about,
I do, and I
you guys
hated
wanting-
to get it off schedule. to
right,
begin
no, I
with,
got
but
you.
It
Gotcha.
would be a problem.
Okay, well, with that understanding, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes,
Emery,
Yes.
we are adjourned.